Flash tears across the sun-baked emptiness of Nullarbor, his lightning carving a burning trail through the desert air. As he runs, his thoughts drift over the vastness around him, a place unlike anything else in the world. A single road in the southernmost part of Australia, 1,000 miles of flat, open nothing, where even the wind seems too tired to move. Out here, it's just him and the kind of silence only a speedster can appreciate. To Flash, this stretch of land isn't just geography, it's an escape. Flash blazes down the lonely highway, the scorching wind whipping past him as he overtakes a massive road train. In his head, Flash goes over the same thought he always has out here. The road is almost completely deserted, nothing but the occasional wild tourist or one of these monster machines hauling Australia from one end to the other. And for him, that emptiness is perfection. No chaos, no noise, no emergencies, just open space. And somehow, unbelievably, it only gets better from here. Flash eventually slows as a familiar sign comes into view. 90 miles straight, Australia's longest, perfectly straight stretch of road. He stops right in front of the sign. Out here, the only things Flash ever has to dodge are the occasional kangaroo or an annoyed flock of emus wandering across the asphalt. A road this long, this empty, with barely a hint of traffic? For someone like him, a speedster, it's pure nirvana. He admits to himself that he comes here often not just to run, but to think. But today was different. Today, he doesn't want reflection or clarity or answers. He doesn't want to replay what happened, or what he could have done, or what he should have done. Right now, all he wants is to run, with a single explosive step. Lightning cracks off his boots and he tears down the straightaway, leaving nothing behind but a burning trail of speed. His mind drags him back to 2 hours earlier in Melbourne, where the Justice League had been trying to disperse a massive protest that had spiraled out of control. Wonder Woman descending through the sky, addressing the crowd and urging everyone to return home before things escalated. Suddenly, a boy pushed his way to the front. Flash can still hear the man shouting back at them, accusing them of trying to control a country that wasn't theirs, mocking the idea of gods hovering above mortals and issuing commands. At the time, Flash thought he was just another loud protester, but that changed the second he stripped off his coat. Underneath was a superhero suit, and at that moment, everything started to go wrong. "I'm sorry, but we have the right to protest in our own country. I'm going to have to ask you to return to your homes." A burst of energy exploded from his chest, a beam that ripped through a street pole like it was made out of paper. The crowd scattered in panic. Superman and Wonder Woman dodged with effortless speed, closing the distance on him before he even understood what he'd unleashed. Flash could see it instantly. He looked strong, but he wasn't that strong. Pumped full of tech, steroids, and whatever genetic tinkering someone promised would turn him into a hero. But beneath all of that, he was just a scared young boy who had no idea who he was trying to fight. Superman and Wonder Woman reached him almost casually, each grabbing an arm. Their strength dwarfed anything he could muster. Flash watched it all unfold in real time, and in that instant he understood the truth. The boy wasn't powerful. He'd only been made to think he was. Flash could see the moment that illusion shattered. He saw the fear snap across the kid's face. I could see the scared kid who just realized that he wasn't Superman. Flash didn't take a single step. He didn't intervene. He didn't pull the boy away. He simply watched as Superman and Wonder Woman brought him down together, slamming him into the pavement with a force he was never built to withstand. The ground shattered beneath the impact, dust exploded outward, and Flash stood there, motionless, while the kid's life changed forever in a heartbeat he could have stopped. Flash heard it, every crack, every pop, each vertebrae giving way one by one as the boy's spine collapsed under the impact. In the space between each bone breaking, he could have acted 10 times. Instead, he stood frozen in place, watching, listening, knowing the exact moment the boy became crippled. I knew he was crippled before his pain receptors even felt the impact. Superman and Wonder Woman stood over the fallen boy. The crowd that had been shouting moments earlier backed away, stunned into a horrified quiet as they stared at the unconscious boy lying in a crater of dust and shattered concrete. His body was twisted unnaturally, limbs limp, the damage unmistakable even from a distance. Wonder Woman finally lost her patience and commanded the crowd to disperse. As people stumbled back in fear, Flash moved at last, racing to the boy who lay broken in the crater. One look was enough. He knew the kid needed help fast, and he sprinted away before guilt froze him again. Wonder Woman tried to stop him, calling after him as he ran, but Flash only shouted back that he was getting an ambulance and that no one should move the boy. Then, through his communicator, a voice slipped in. Batman. He didn't shout, didn't accuse. He just says, "Breaking up civilian protests now? How heroic." Flash answered the communicator, still running, surprised to hear Batman's voice at all. He reminded Bruce that his access to League comms had been revoked, but Batman calmly explained that he had built the communicators himself. "I unrevoked it." On Batman's screen, the scene appeared as a live feed. The boy on the pavement, the ambulance approaching. Batman told him not to worry about the ambulance because they were already almost there. What mattered now was something else entirely. He instructed Flash to head straight to the Advanced Sciences and Genetic Testing Laboratory in Canberra. When Flash demanded to know why, Batman didn't bother arguing. He just says, "I could tell you, but by the time I get done convincing you, and I will convince you, you could already be there." Flash arrived at the facility of Canberra, demanding answers. Batman told him he was here because he was on the wrong side of this, and because Batman hadn't given up on him yet. Before Flash could respond, a woman approached him, Dr. Norris. She was awestruck to see the Flash in person. She shook his hand enthusiastically and said she'd been told he wanted information about the kid. Confused, Flash asked which kid. It was the same teenager Superman and Wonder Woman had just put into the ground. Dr. Norris told Flash that his name was Mitchell Davies, Galaxor. Flash studied the poster for a moment longer and asked what Galaxor even meant. And Dr. Norris admitted the boy had made it up for himself, probably just thought it sounded cool. She explained that they hadn't picked him for creativity anyway. As they walked down the corridor, she listed the real reasons. He was fit, he was able, he didn't ask too many questions, and, above all, he was willing to do anything to be a superhero. That alone made him easy to recruit. She opened the door to his room, saying, "Sorry, he's not here at the moment, but here's the room he stays in. Brace yourself, he's a bit of a fanboy." Inside the room, Flash found himself surrounded by walls plastered with posters, clippings, and action shots of the Justice League. But the centerpiece was what hit him the hardest, a huge picture of himself shaking hands with Mitchell Davies. The kid proudly smiling with bold text that read, "Mitchell, anyone can be a hero. Flash." Flash stared at it, stunned, unable to even remember when that photo had been taken. Dr. Norris gently pointed out that heroes like him meet countless fans, so forgetting one moment wasn't unusual. But through Flash's earpiece, Batman's voice cut in. "How do you think he felt in that moment, Barry, when his idols broke him?" That single line hit harder than any punch. In the next instant, Flash was gone, leaving only his communicator on the floor behind him. Now, the Flash was at the 90-mile straight. There, lying beside the road, was a red kangaroo, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds of muscle, brought down by a 200-ton road train traveling at 70 miles an hour. The driver couldn't have slowed down. Flash knew that. He probably barely noticed the impact at all. Flash just stood there. But I slowed down. I noticed. Then, in his mind, the image shifted. For a split second, it wasn't the animal anymore. It was the boy, the kid who'd wanted nothing more than to be a hero. Flash sank down, one knee hitting the dirt, his hand covering part of his face as the weight of it all finally crashed into him. What the hell are we doing? Flash pushed himself back up to his feet. He moved into his starting stance. He could hear his own thoughts. I effing come here to run and think. But today, I don't want to think. He pushed himself off the ground. Dust exploded behind him, and in the accelerating storm of speed, he finished the thought. I just want to run. He vanished into the horizon, a man trying to run from everything, even himself. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.